back to my channel. My name is Darian and today I am going to be talking about 21 books that I want to read in 2021. So I definitely have way more than 21 books that I want to read in 2021, but I thought it would be a nice number because 21 books in 2021, we get it. I actually, when I made the list of the books I wanted to include, my list had like over 30 books, so I'm definitely missing a lot of books that I want to read next year. I mean, I want to read like all the books on my shelves that I haven't read yet. So if you think I am missing some books, it's because I am. If there are some books that I don't mention, trust me, there are way more books than the ones I'm going to mention that I want to read in 2021, but these are kind of like the top priority almost. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to make this video, and then at the end of the year, well, at the end of next year, I'm going to watch it again and see how many of these books I actually did read. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I have 21 books here that I want to talk about, and I'm not going to give very detailed synopses, I still don't know, of these books because one, most of them I don't even really know that much about what they're about, and two, I don't want this video to be 8 years long, so we're gonna try to get through each book quickly, but we'll see how that goes because I tend to ramble, as we all know. So yeah, so let's just get started. So the first book I want to mention is actually probably the one that I am most excited to read out of all these books. This is a book that I asked for Christmas, and if I don't get it, then I will definitely be buying it pretty much as soon as Christmas is over because I just really want to own this book and I really want to read it soon, and that book is Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. I have just heard so many amazing things about this book. I don't think I've heard any negative reviews. I've only heard positive things, and it sounds like such a great story. So what I do know about this book is that it follows this boy who wants to be a brujo, which I think is someone who can raise people from the dead, but I believe only men can be a brujo, and our main character is trans, so his family kind of doesn't really accept him as a brujo. So to prove them wrong, he tries to summon his cousin who recently died from the dead, and then he accidentally summons this like bad boy from their town that recently died. I don't really know, but I know there is a romance between them and I'm very excited about it. So yeah, like I said, I've heard only amazing things about this book and I am just really excited to read it, and the cover is also beautiful, so I'm just very excited about it, so yes. So the next book that I want to read next year is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This is one of the books that was in my 5-star predictions video, which I think is like the 4th video I made on this channel, so that was back in like May. I still have, I think, 3 books left to read from that list, which the 3 of them are in this list. You'll see them soon, but this was one of them. This is by the same author who wrote Circe, and you guys may know that I really did not like that book. I gave it 2 stars. I found it really boring, but I have heard that this book is better from most people. Most people seem to like this book better, so I have high hopes for it. I've heard this book makes a lot of people cry. I mean, it's about Achilles and Patroclus, and I don't know their story very well, but I think I know what happens, so I'm sure I'll be sad, but I'm really hoping to enjoy this more than Circe. The next book that I want to read next year is The Bear and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden. I forgot to mention that I am including series in this list, but I'm hoping to at least just start the series, so if I read the first book in the next year, then I will count it when I come back to this video a year from now. But yeah, The Bear and the Nightingale is the first book in the Winter Night trilogy by Katherine Arden, and I don't know, again, too much about this book. I think it's based on like Russian folklore, and I know Rachel really does not like this book, but she's the only one I've heard who didn't like this book. My brother read it recently and really liked it, and I have heard pretty amazing things from everyone else, so we'll see if I agree with Rachel or not. But this was another book that was in my 5-star predictions video, so I think I'm really gonna like it. There's just something about it that is calling out to me, and yeah, I'm really excited to get to this one. The next book I know will make Manda very happy, and that is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I almost said Manda, that'd be funny. The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is another trilogy, the Folk of the Air trilogy, and again, all I know about this series, I know it's fantasy, and I know there is a cruel prince named Cardin and a girl named Jude, and I think her family is murdered and she has to go live with the Fae, something like that. I don't really know. I've heard a lot of mixed things about this series, so I'm interested to see what I think of it, but I know Amanda loves it, so we'll see if I like it as much as she does. The next book is the other book that I mentioned in that 5-star predictions video, and that is The Astonishing Color of After. This book has been on a few of my TBRs and I haven't read it yet, so I really want to get to it next year. This is, oh, did I say? The author is Emily Pan. So this book follows this girl who her mother recently died due to suicide, I think, and she is convinced her mother has turned into this bird, and this girl goes back to Taiwan. That's where her grandparents live, I think. So I think it's about her, well, her life with her grandparents and her dealing with the grief of her mother, and I've heard this book makes a lot of people cry, so I'm excited to cry. And again, this is another book I've heard really great things about, so I'm excited to get to this one also. I mean, I'm gonna say that for every book. I'm excited to get to all of these, but I'm probably gonna keep saying it because, yeah. So the next two books I have are With the Fire on High and Clap When You Land, both by Elizabeth Acevedo. This year I read The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo and I absolutely loved it. It was so amazing, and these are her two other books that she's written. Clap When You Land is written in verse just like The Poet X was, and With the Fire on High is written in prose, so I'm interested to read both of these books and see if I like her writing in verse or prose better. I think I've heard people say that they like her books written in verse better, so I'm interested to see what I think. But this book follows these two girls who find out that they are sisters after their father dies in a plane accident. One of the girls lives in New York and the other one lives in the Dominican Republic, so it's about them dealing with their grief and, you know, finding out about each other's existence and getting to know each other. And I have heard pretty amazing things about this book, so I'm excited about it again. And this book follows a young girl who is a teen mom, I think, and she's still in high school with a young daughter, and so she's just kind of dealing with being a young mom, and I think she lives with her grandmother, and I know she likes to cook. And first of all, this cover is absolutely stunning. It's one of the most beautiful covers I've ever seen, and there's a lot of food on the cover, so I am really excited to read this one because food, but I've also heard really great things about this one. The next book that I want to read next year is A Song of Race and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. This book I am so excited about. This book I really think is going to be 5 stars because I have heard pretty amazing things about it, and also I heard that one of the characters has really bad anxiety and has panic attacks, and I really love seeing that rep in books because, and I know it's one of the male characters, and I feel like when we do get to see that anxiety rep in books, it's normally with female characters, so I am really excited that it is with a male character because obviously men get anxious and have panic attacks too, so I am excited to see that rep. And I've just heard that it's an amazing fantasy story, and also I have this beautiful Fairy Loot edition with these green sprayed edges, so I'm really happy I have this edition of this book. And I don't know too much about the story, but I know our main characters are trying to kill each other, but they don't know that they're trying to kill each other. Like, I think she has to kill him because I don't even know. So I know it's enemies to lovers, and I am here for that, and yes, I'm excited to get to this book also. So the next book, if I don't read this book next year, then I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself, because I think this book has been on 3 of my TBRs now, and I still haven't read it, so I need to pick up, not the pace, pick up, I don't know, I dropped the ball, I don't know, I gotta pick it up, okay. But that book is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I love the 2005 movie with Keira Knightley so much. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I absolutely adore that story, and so since I love the movie so much, I really should read the book. And I've heard the book is amazing, obviously, because it's Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Like, obviously it's amazing, and I know I'm gonna love it, and I'm gonna give it 5 stars, and it's gonna be one of my new favorite books. Like, I know all this, and yet, have I read it yet? No. So I really need to read this book next year. If I don't, I'm just gonna delete my channel. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I need to read this, so I know it's gonna be great, so yes. The next book I have is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. This is a book that is set during World War II, and I think we're following 2 sisters. I think that's this book. I often get this book and All the Light We Cannot See mixed up, and I know both of those take place in World War II, but I'm pretty sure this is the one about two sisters, and I just know that this book makes everyone cry, and I've heard amazing things about it. It's a pretty big boy, but I am excited to get into it. I've had this book for quite a while now, like a year and a half I think I got it ago. Wow, that made no sense, but I think I've had it for like a year and a half now, so I really need to read it soon, but I think I'm gonna love it. Every time I read a historical fiction, I end up really liking it. Like, I read Salt to the Sea in 2019, I think, and I really loved that book, so I think I'm gonna really like this. I guess I'll see, but I would really like to read it this year. The next book that I want to read in I almost said 2020. The next book that I want to read in 2021 is A Lat's Away by Darcy Little Badger. I think this book came out in 2020, I'm pretty sure. But I know this book is by an Indigenous author and our main character is an Indigenous, and I'm really interested to read the story, and I'm pretty sure I heard that the main character is Ace, so obviously that makes me more interested to read it. But I've heard, again, amazing things about this book. I know Kayla from Books and Lala really loved this book. My friend Casey recently read this and really loved it, so I think I'll really love it. I have a good feeling about this one. I've just heard really good things, and the cover is beautiful, so there's that. But yeah, I think I'm gonna really love this one. The next book is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. This book is part of a trilogy, kind of. I mean, each of these books is a like companion to each other, so there's gonna be 3 books in the end. This one follows Chloe Brown, the second one follows Danny Brown, and the third one is following Eve Brown, I think, and they're all sisters. And so this one is about Chloe Brown, and at the beginning of the book, I think she goes through a near-death experience, and so after that, she kind of makes a list, kind of like a bucket list, I guess, to get a life in a way, because she feels like if she had died in that moment, she hadn't lived enough yet, you know? Am I making sense? I don't know. But I've heard great things about this series. I know a lot of people really love the second book about Danny Brown, but I have heard great things about this first book too, and me and Lisa were supposed to buddy read this like a few months ago, I think in October, and we never got to it, so maybe we'll be buddy reading this in the new year. We'll see, but I'm really excited to read this book. The next book I have is Keeper of the Lost Cities by, who's it by? Shannon Messenger. This is the first book in a very large series. I think there's like 7 or 8 books in the series, maybe more, I'm not sure. I don't think the series is even done yet, but anyways, this is the first book in the series, and it is a middle grade series, and I don't really know what it's about, but I know a lot of people really love this book, and I believe this is going to be the middle grade monthly book for January, I think, which is a book club hosted by Gavin and Jade. I'll leave their channels linked down below, but I would really love to read this with them and be able to watch the live show, because I've been meaning to start this series for a while. Again, this book I think I got like a year ago and I still haven't read it, so I would really like to read this, and if I like it I can read the whole series. I'd love to start a series that's like really long, and because if I love it then that's just great. There's just so many books to read, so that's great. So yeah. So the next book that I'm hoping to read in 2021, it's kind of like, this is the first book in a series, but I'm kind of going to be talking about 2 series and putting them into one huge group, because it'll make sense in a second. But the next book that I want to read in 2021 is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first book in the Grisha trilogy, and there is also the Six of Crows duology, which I would also like to read in 2021. I know the Netflix show is coming out. They just announced that it's coming out in April, so I need to read this first trilogy before then, and I've heard that there's parts of Six of Crows that is going to be part of that show, so now I need to read at least Six of Crows. I don't think I need to read Crooked Kingdom though, but I need to read Six of Crows too before April, so I need to get reading. But I don't quite know what these books are about. This series I definitely don't know what they're about. Six of Crows, all I know is that there's 6 people and they go on a heist. That's all I know. But I know this is like a booktube favorite. Well, not this series. A lot of people don't really like this series very much, and everyone tells me I can just read Six of Crows without reading the Grisha trilogy, but I'm not gonna listen to them. I don't know if you can hear my brother on the phone. He's working downstairs. Oh no, he's talking to my mom. He's talking very loud. Anyways, I I think they forgot I'm filming, but it's fine. So anyways, as I was saying, a lot of people have told me I don't need to read the Grisha trilogy before I read Six of Crows, but I'm gonna do it anyways because it's gonna bother me if I don't do that, so I'm gonna do it. So there you go. The next book I have is Illuminae by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, and this is the first book in another series called the Illuminae Files. This series has been very popular for many years now, and I'm surprised I haven't gotten to it yet, but I'm really excited about the series because even though these books are kind of big, I think it'll be pretty quick to get through because the series, I don't know if you can see, but the series is told in like mixed media format, so like it's not in your standard prose, I guess. I don't quite know what the series is about. All I know it's that is whoa. I don't know what just came out of my mouth. I know that it is sci-fi, and I believe we're following these two characters who, at the beginning of this book, they break up, but then their ship is attacked? Something like that. I don't really know. And there's a war. But I've heard great things about the series, especially this first book, so I am really excited to get to this one. Okay, the next book I have, it should be interesting, and I'm really nervous to read this book, but I would really like to read it next year, and that is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. This book, I mean, first of all, it's pretty long. I think it's like 800 pages or something. Yeah, 800 pages, and I don't really know much about the story. All I know is that we're following this guy, I think his name is Jude, and we basically follow him throughout his whole life, I think, and his group of friends, and I know that he goes through a lot in this book, like a lot. Why are they talking so loud? I'm filming, guys. I know we follow him throughout his whole life, and I know he goes through a lot. Everyone cries when they read this book, so I'm very excited about that, but I have heard that there are a lot of trigger warnings when it comes to this book, so if you are looking to pick this book up, I would highly suggest you look up the trigger warnings first because I hear this could be very triggering for some people, so I don't know when I'm gonna read this, but I would really like to get to it this year because, I mean, I have it, and I'm ready to be hurt. It's gonna be great, so yes. Okay, the next book I have is another popular YA series that I'm surprised I haven't gotten to yet, but that is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This is part of a trilogy. This is kind of a murder mystery, I think. I think we're following this girl named Stevie who goes to this school, and at this school there was a mystery that happened like in the 20s or something. Well, like, oh my god. We're in the 20s, but the 1920s, and the headmaster's wife and daughter were kidnapped and they were never found, and so she is trying to solve that mystery because it was never solved, but then there's another mystery going on during her time, something like that. But I've heard mixed things about this series, but I have a feeling it's just gonna be like a quick and easy series to read that I will enjoy, so I mean, yeah. I want to get to it in 2021. That's what this whole video is. Okay, the next book that I need to read next year, it is a book that I've actually started. I got like 80 pages in and then I didn't continue it for whatever reason. This book, well, the whole series intimidates me, but I know my brother really wants me to read it, and that is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Like I said, I did start this book, but I never finished it. And it's not like I wasn't liking it, but I think that just the size of it scared me, but I know the fourth book just came out, so at least I can, well, not binge. I don't think I'm gonna read them one after the other. That would be a lot on my brain, but I can maybe read the whole series this year. I mean, let's be honest, that's not gonna happen, but I would at least like to read this first book. I can't even tell you what this series is about, but I know that it's high fantasy. There's a lot of stuff. People love the characters. I don't know what I'm getting myself into, but I know I need to read it, so hopefully I will be reading at least the first book in 2021. Okay, we're getting near the end, guys. We're almost there. The next book I have is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This is one of the most popular romance books I've heard about on BookTube, and this is another book that I've heard pretty much only good reviews about. Like, everyone just seems to love this book, and I know it's a hate-to-love romance, and I love hate-to-love. I know it's about these two people who work together, and then I think they're trying for the same position or something. I don't know, but I've heard it's great, and I would like to read some more romance in 2021, so this is definitely on the top of my list in terms of romance. The next book that I want to get to next year is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. There's so many names swirling around in my brain right now, and anyways, it's by Matt Haig. I think this book just came out like in November, maybe earlier, but I know it came out in 2020, and this is another book that I've heard only amazing things about. Everyone seems to be giving this book 5 stars, and I've heard it's very magical, and I just can't wait to read it. From what I understand, it's about this girl who I think she dies, and then she finds out about this library that's kind of like in the afterlife, something like that, and she is able to, like, the books in the library are like different versions of her life, so like depending on different decisions that she could have made during her life. That's what these books are. Does that make sense? I don't know, but it sounds really interesting. I've never heard of a synopsis like that before, and I have read 2 books by Matt Haig. One was nonfiction, one was fiction, and I really like his writing, and I know that he does talk a lot about mental health issues, both in his books and in real life, and I'm sure this book is going to feature that heavily, so I am really interested to read it, and I have a feeling I'm going to love that one. So we have reached the end. The last book that I have here that I want to read in 2021 is Priory of the Orange Tree. This big boy right here. Look how big she is. She's very big. And she's not even as big as The Way of Kings, but I feel like this one seems bigger. How long is this book? Okay. It's like about 800 pages. So it's actually as big as A Little Life, but like the size is bigger, you know? Like, you could kill a man with this. But the cover of this is very beautiful, and the spine, just everything about it is beautiful. And again, I've heard great things about this book. I don't know what it's about. I know there's a dragon because there's a dragon on the cover, and we love dragons in this house. So I am really excited to get to this one as well, but I am very daunted by it because it's very big, and high fantasy just makes my brain turn into mush, because especially the first like 100 pages I'm always like, huh? So we'll see how this goes, but I would really like to get to it next year. So those are the 21 books that I want to get to in 2021. Like I said earlier, these are not the only books that I want to read next year. There are so many more. I mean, literally, like I said, all the books on my bookshelves I would like to get to. And I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video, but this list obviously did not include any 2021 releases. That's mostly because I don't even really know what's coming out in 2021. I'm really bad at paying attention to like future releases. I know of When Night Breaks by Janella Angeles because that's a sequel to Where Dreams Descend, but aside from that, oh, and One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I can't even think of any other books coming out in 2021, so that's the reason why these are all like backlist books. But yeah, so I will be watching this video again a year from now, and I'll see how well I did. Hopefully I've read at least half of these, but maybe all of them. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what books you are excited to read in 2021. It could be new releases that are coming out next year, or books that you have been meaning to get to for a while. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, and thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon with another video soon. Bye!